Hello everybody, this is Reggie Time, making a video for my grad school channel. It's my first live play video in several weeks for a number of reasons, some poker related, some not poker related, but mostly because I've been grinding on Sky, and Sky makes for some quite shit, boring, tedious, because it's just not fast forward. It doesn't make for any particularly interesting videos. It's hard to make, in my opinion, good videos when we're talking about Sky and playing on Sky. I love playing Sky. It's not that great for videos. You want to watch somebody four table in regular tables, not me. Right, we've flopped a boat here. I think whatever we do, we're going to look really strong here once if we cold call against this. This raise to 860. I guess I'm just going to call though and just hope Fishy July just overcommits with an overpair. Don't want him to fold anything here, so I guess calling's the best thing to do, and it just instantly folds, so whatever. Not much point anyways, just betting now. He's only got $2.18 left, and we take the pot down. So yeah, I've been playing a lot on Sky. I've been doing incredibly well. I've been game selecting really hard, and I didn't have a big month volume wise, but I did have a big month in terms of my net profit. When I add that to the Mr. Money I made on AAA and a tournament score, I had my best month of the year so far, and possibly my best month in the last 12 months. I think it was a good time to be in. It's a good time to be in my shoes, but that's gone now. We're into July. It's well, not that it matters so much anyway. Cash game grind is just one long grind, but we tend to portion these things by arbitrary periods of time, don't we? So we're into a new month, literally by 1 hour and 17 minutes. And I did log into play a session on Sky, but tables were kind of dying. It was the ones that were there, they weren't that great. So I've kept a little bit, a really small amount of money on AAA. I don't have a bankroll to play these games really, but obviously my overall bankroll is sufficient to grind these games. And yeah, it gives me an opportunity to make a video when my regular games are kind of slow, a little bit on the slow side. So that's why I'm doing it. As usual, for those of you who know about my channel now and those of you who don't, my channel, my video, my work, call it what you will, is always aimed at recreational players. If you are already a winning regular or an intermediate type of player, the videos aren't going to be for you. The technical, in terms of things I do technically, you're not going to get anything from it. But if you're a recreational player, a serious amateur player, if you're new to the game, if you're a beginner, if you are a winning player typically, but you have mental game issues which hurt you, all those kinds of things, poor bankroll management, those are all the things I believe I can help you with, and I believe that my my coaching, mentoring, call it what you will, can absolutely help you with. It's dirt cheap. It's just $20 per calendar month, and I think for players that struggle with one or more aspect of the game that want to get better, I think it's damn good value for money. I've got a pretty good track record now of helping players just like you improve their mental game, improve the actual technical side of the game, improve the bankroll management, just improve their overall approach to poker. Poker isn't just about the actual acts of playing poker. Many people will have you believe it is, but it isn't. Actually, my belief is that the actual act of playing poker is the culmination of getting everything else right. Because if we don't get the rest right, ultimately we'll not be playing poker. We'll just go broke and we'll fall out of love with the game. So like the actual act of playing like we are now is the end product of a series of things that we need to get right, and that's where I believe I'm in a good position to help lots and lots of players who struggle with everything else. You might be actually quite good at poker, but you struggle with everything else. I think that's where I come in. If you are a regular, and it's when I come in lots of different places. If you're not already a winning player. But that's enough of my self-promotional spin. The rest of it now we'll just be talking about what's going on, and that raise is too small. Way too small. Fucked up there. We're talking, that should have been at least 150, not 105, but whatever. Yeah, where we are. got to deal with the situation we presented to ourselves, and we take the pot down anyway. I was hoping to get called there, but never mind. Can't lose when they fold, I guess. We won't be folding this jack 8 suited unless bronze makes a 3-bet, and we won't be folding the king queen suited. I think we could be, you know, not in the greatest of shape, but king 9 suited is just, the king queen suited is just too strong to fold in this spot. We don't flop anything in particular, so unless he makes a small bet, we're probably just going to be folding. We have got some backdoor draws, but we're not going to chase them for that price. It's a little bit annoying, but whatever. It's always annoying when you're in 3-bet pots, you miss someone bets, you kind of, you know, there's a lot of the spots where I believe lots and lots of semi-decent regulars and you know, semi-decent recreational players have problems with, because the ego gets involved. They just make mistakes in those spots because they just get frustrated by it. Like, they know people 3-betting, like with ace king, ace queen, etc. They know that ball doesn't hit all of the range. It can tempt you to spew. I understand all of that, but ultimately in spots like that, you've just got to let it go. You know, most of the time, until we start getting good reads on people, or until you get really good post flop, or there's lots of reasons why we can sometimes think about sticking around there against certain players. But ego, a desire to bash heads with the regulars, you know, whatever it is that sometimes makes you make mistakes in those spots, they're the sort of things that we need to try and get under control. Because spewing in spots like that and just, like, you know, dumping a buy-in every now and again, it's really hard to overcome in the long term. And we can go back and we can look at hands, and we can invent ranges for people which makes our play or our spew, you know, validates it. But ultimately, you know, most of the time when we brick in 3-bet pots, we usually just have to concede to the aggression. It's difficult to do sometimes. It's annoying, especially if you keep bricking in 3-bet pots. You know, if you have one of those sessions where nothing works for you, but you've just got to do it. It's what separates the wheat from the chaff, shall we say? Discipline. We flop top pair top kicker against Davies here. Start by betting $2. We'll value bet our 10 over here. It's somewhat thin, but not so thin that we shouldn't be doing it, I don't think. We get check raise, it's be annoying, but we just fold. Sometimes we're going to get called here and we're going to lose, and then sometimes he's going to call and we're going to win. Overall, I think it's a fine value bet, and one that we should be making. That's another league that lots of players that struggle to get a positive win rate have, is they just don't value bet thin enough on the river. They check back too many winners. You know, if you're checking back too many winners in these games, you're going to find it hard to win, because sometimes we're in situations where we're forced to pay off. We kind of know we're beat, but we're forced to pay off. So we compensate for that by making sure that we put people in those kind of spots more than we find ourselves getting put in them. That's how I choose to, like, compensate that and get that my reciprocal profit, if you will. You know, I sometimes, maybe, like we all do, maybe we sometimes pay off when we shouldn't, but if we're putting people in positions where we're forcing them to pay off more than we're paying off, you know, over the long term, reciprocally we're winning there. So paying off, and one of the key things I often talk to people about is pay off less, value bet more. That's kind of how to improve your win rate 101. You know, in the spots that are like really close and you think should have called, should have fold, try folding a little bit more, especially with like the weaker stuff. And in spots where should have bet, should have checked, try betting a little bit more. Those are two ways where you can improve your win rate pretty quickly. I think lots and lots of okay regulars, but not great regulars, they have a real problem with bet folding. I don't want to go all Bart Hansen on you, but it's an issue. You know, it's a big issue for a lot of players. They have a real issue with bet folding, so to protect themselves from not being incapable of folding when they should be bet folding, they just don't bet. And that's a pure adjustment. The adjustment you need to be making, you need to be developing the discipline to make the thin value bet and fold to the raise. But because people don't like folding to a raising on the river too often, even though it's usually the right play. People just don't bet, and yeah, that's not the way we should do it for me. And where's my stack so small on this table over here? Did we lose that hand with that pocket, with that set? I didn't even pay attention. Did we lose that hand? Let me see if I can find it. Yes, we did. We did lose it. I didn't realise I got sucked out on. I wonder why my stack was so damn small. For those of you who wondering what I'm talking about, it was when we flopped the full house. Didn't realise he rivered a bigger full house. So, fuck our lives, I guess. I just looked at my stack then, I thought, we should have like an extra $10 or $12 in it. Never mind. Never mind. It's only money. We have to keep calling while these min bets are going in. We're almost never good, but when we look at the price we're getting a stupid price to continue in the hand, and we might just bink a 5 sometimes. I'm not going to try and bluff here. We just lose all the time, and if we don't, well, good for us. We actually didn't lose this time. I'm going to go for a check raise here with the ace. We have the backdoor diamonds. And usually people think when we check these flops they can just like auto bet and then we're just going to fold. So I like not auto folding. I like doing things that, I mean, people think we've capped our range here. And in fact, I'm just going to go with, no, I'm going to go with the check raise. I don't like just like, you know, I like to sometimes have hands where, you know, because it's a very common theory in these games where people out of position, the pre-flop raise checks, he's usually folding, you know, it's usually check folding. So I like to just throw things in, just to throw like regulars off balance and do things that regulars aren't expecting. I mean, if he's got a set, he's going to stack me anyway. It's almost impossible for him to have 2 pair on that board. So therefore, you know, we're only behind the sets and that's about it. And there's tons of things we can get value from. Flush draws, top pairs. The 5's not ideal, but whatever. We're just going to go bet, shove. And if he's flopped a set, he was going to stack me anyway. So I don't think I like the value on myself here in any way whatsoever. And yeah, we might not have got a full stack if we'd just gone bet there. We probably wouldn't have got a full stack. So really quite pleased with how that works out. I should have c-bet this board over here. Too busy talking about my hand on table 2. It's a frequent leak of mine in videos where I'm in the hand on 1 table and talking about it a lot. I autopilot the table on the ace deuce 8 rainbow when we've been the pre-flop raise. I think the c-bets, it says mandatory. I wouldn't say anything's ever mandatory, but I think it's as good a time as any to do it. So I'm actually going to go back and explain my point a little bit more there, because it's something I frequently get criticised for. Well, not criticised, but people like, I don't know, they don't really like some of the lines I take in videos, and they don't always explain them very well the first time around. So I'm going to try and counter that now by explaining what I was thinking at each point during the hand. I mean, obviously pre-flop's incredibly standard. And then we hit this flop, and it's like an auto c-bet most of the time. I mean, I would say close to 100% of regulars c-bet aces in this spot, especially when they've got the backdoor diamonds too. And yeah, we can do that. We can bet 150 here. He can call with the exact hand he's got. So let's just say he's going to call all 3 streets. So we bet 150. He calls. That puts $5.14 in the pot. On the turn we bet $3. He calls. That puts $11 in the pot. On the river maybe we bet $6.5. He calls, and that makes the pot whatever it would have been, $23, something like that. We're just never going to get stacks unless this guy's a sputard who just like raises at some point. But the minute we get the check raising, if we check and we get a raising like we do, we've created an extra round of betting almost. as long as it's assuming he doesn't fold. So we've created an extra round of betting by getting 2 bets in on the flop. We've got the bet and the raising on the flop rather than just the betting. And then when we get to the turn, if he has got a hand he's sticking around with, the stack to pot ratio now is really favourable. When we get to the turn with an SPR of 2, if our opponents have got like a hand they're going to stack off with, it makes it really, really easy for us to just get all the money in now. Whereas if we had got to the turn and there was only $5 in the pot, he would have had like tons behind, we'd have had tons behind, and there's no way we could have got all the money in unless he made a mistake by raising here. Like me may well have done, because I think he turned up with king queen of clubs exactly, didn't he? So he may have got it all on the turn anyway, but he's not always going to pick up a flush draw on the turn. So that's why I do it, and but that's not the main reason why I do it. I do it because, as we talked about, and I don't do it all the time. Do a heckers I do it all the time, because then it would just be stupid. But every now and again, and it's not against any particular types of opponent, it's just against anyone who I think might be a regular. If I think they're thinking as typically as regulars do, which is when someone checks, they can bet. It's nice just to have a raising range in there sometimes, because sometimes I want to check here, sometimes I want to check like pocket sevens, and I don't want someone always to just bet ace 10 offsuit here or something like that, ace 10 of hearts. So there's some random bluff. I don't want to just just take all the range and just bluff me off my hand. So it's nice to be able to turn up with ace in these situations, at least now and again, or king or a set or something like that, you know. But if we only ever do it with sets, but I don't think we're doing it enough, so it's nice in my opinion to do it with some over pairs too. The fact we have the diamonds, you know, it's a bit of a bonus for us, because if a diamond does come on the turn, it helps a little bit. Maybe I wouldn't have done this if we had like 2 black aces. Maybe I wouldn't do it then. But with the ace of diamonds, I think it just helps that we had that. So that's why I do it. I do it because I don't want to just always be like having a capped range in this spot, basically. So if I can uncap my range by checking aces and sets and things now and again, I think it makes me harder to play against. And we're back, and we'll continue. Value hitter. I haven't been hitting much value tonight with that stack, have you, kiddo? Okie dokie. We are going to 3-bet. You'll notice that my 3-bets to 10 big blinds. It's something that I've picked up from watching Doug Polk. He appears to 3-bet to 10 big blinds quite a lot. If it's good enough for Douglas, it's certainly good enough for me. I'm not entirely sure why he does it. I'm presuming it's just for value. I'm certainly doing it for value. I believe if someone's going to call, say, 268 there, they're probably going to call $3. So I don't believe putting the extra big blind or so on makes a huge difference. It's going to be one and done with my C-bet here with my ace 7. And we do pick up the fold, which is always pleasant. Another thing I should mention about the snap games this month, if you haven't played on 888 very often, or 888, it's easy to say, maybe it's not the worst time to try playing on it, because a lot of the regulars are probably pissed off to Party Poker for the month, because Party running some, to be fair, it's a pretty good promotion for like high volume regulars, which involves, you know, if you play X amount of hands, I think it's 100,000 hands or whatever, I don't know what it is. There's different numbers of hands you can play where you can pick up different amounts of bonuses. And also some of the guys I'm working with now are currently taking part in that promotion, because it is, if you run a short roll and you're playing like 10 and L, but you can put a lot of hands in a month, it's going to be a very good way for you to boost your bankroll. So yeah, I don't get any pleasure from telling people to go and just put high volume, because it's not my thing. But Party Poker, if I could divert your attention to it now, if you're a 10-0 grinder who struggles to build a roll, Party Poker might be the place to be until the middle of, I think it's the 14th of August. You could easily double or triple your bankroll if you put the volume in, which might just be the kickstart some of you guys need. But the point being that if you're not really that asked about putting high volume in and you just want to find some soft speed poker games, right now it appears as though there's an awful lot of grinders that have kind of migrated from 888 to Party Poker. The pools, I've noticed, are nowhere near as big as they have been in the third channel recently, and I didn't really pick up on it until one of my guys today told me about this party poker promotion, and then it makes sense that it will absolutely draw people from PokerStars and draw people from Snap and what have you, from Triple Eight. The games, I don't know how good they are. I haven't really spoke to the guys yet about how good they are, but don't expect them to be great because the pool size on Party Poker at peak times appears to have like more than gone up by more than the power of 4. I think one of the guys this afternoon said there was like, maybe I don't know what time it was like early evening. I think he commented there was like 560 people playing 10L fast forward on Party Poker, which is unheard of. It's unprecedented for Party Poker for them to get that much action in their speed poker pools. So there's a lot of guys that have been dragged from PokerStars and from Triple Eight for sure. There has to be. So it's not the worst time to play these games because there's going to be a lot of the tougher regulars aren't going to be in them, in my opinion. So maybe even for the next month, who knows, maybe my focus will move from Sky to Triple Eight. If these games turn up being good, if I play them a few days now and I do fine in them, and maybe it will take my focus from Sky for a month, who knows. I am somewhat of a, what's the word? I don't know. Traveller. I'll say traveller. I am somewhat of a I get around the sites. I just go wherever I think is best for me at this particular point in time. Last month I thought it was Sky. This month I'm starting the one thinking I think it's going to be Sky, but if I feel I can make $15 an hour playing 30 on Snap, then that's just precisely what I'll do. Or I'll try to. I might not make the money, but I'll try to, you know, because Snap is it's an easier grind than Sky in a lot of ways, because a lot of the time at Sky I'm just sitting around playing 1 or 2 tables, or sitting at empty tables waiting for fish to join me, and it can be like quite a lot of downtime. That can be quite frustrating. So yeah, who knows. I make plans for every month about how I'm going to do my grind, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, and never ever stick to them. Things always change. Sometimes because of some mental game leaks I might be having, other times just because I think something's going to work out and then another opportunity presents itself. Who knows? So I don't really make many plans of where I'm going to play, as long as I stick to how many hours I put into playing, and whether those hours are sometimes spent sitting around on Sky only playing one table, it doesn't matter. What matters is, am I putting the hours in at the tables? Whether I'm playing one table or whether I'm playing 4 tables of Zoom, it's irrelevant to me. It's, am I putting the hours in? Am I actually turning up to work every day? That's the important thing to me. It doesn't really matter. The where isn't the issue. It's the when that's the issue for me. Flop a flush draw seems like a good spot to start. Continuation betting. Again, as you can see, there's tons of players that I just do not have tagged, which again is an indication that, and crucially, I've not seen many sharks or many red tags, which again is an indication that perhaps some of the players have migrated for the month. I mean, who knows? They'll probably come back, but fingers crossed they'll get addicted to fast forward and not come back. But they'll only be replaced by a bunch of new regulars. That's just how it works. Some regulars move out for a while. The games are soft. The word gets around. The games are pretty soft in a certain place at a certain time, and then the games respawn a bunch of regulars. That's just kind of how it goes. Flop an open ender here against EDK. More than reasonable chance for check raise. King or low boards that don't have a suit on are usually good boards to try and bluff on. He calls, we turn the queen. The question is, do we bet now or do we check back and then bet the river? I don't want you folding a hand like pocket 8 or something like that, pocket 7s, pocket 6s. So I think we'll check back here with a view to calling if he bets and then betting if he checks. And that is specifically not because I don't think my hand's good anymore. I mean, we could easily be behind to a king still. But if he has 2 8s, he's probably going to fold the turn thinking I can't call 3 streets. Whereas if we check back the turn, if we've only got a 2-street hand, I prefer to weaken my range slightly and try and get that value on the river. There's a reason, more reasonable chance we lose here to just king X, but whatever. Sometimes we just like beat 3-7, which he may have called with there. He had a good shot, so he may have called the turn. But basically, I just think we've got a 2-street hand. Now we've gone from bluff to value. We haven't really got a 3-street value hand there, in my opinion. So I don't mind checking back the turn. We sometimes induce some bluffs on the river like we did do, although we could be argued we possibly missed value from a good shot. And we get called lighter on the river, in my opinion, because we didn't bet the turn, we weaken our range. And because it's like the last bet going in, we can definitely get called much lighter on the river than we would have got called on the turn. I think I'd rather play unknown players. I think I'd like it a lot better if you made Snap anonymous. I think I'd like that. I'm not sure. I quite like the challenge of playing against unknown players. I think it's much less complicated than it is playing against regulars when you've got like other like extra dynamics to put into your thought processes. Quite like the idea of just playing a bunch of people I don't know, and then just like using my understanding of how the population plays rather than having that complicated by how this individual plays, how they play versus me specific to other people. Just adding more and more layers to it. I mean, poker's much easier when we take a lot of the complexity out of it. We flop another set, so we're running hot with the sets tonight. Not that pleased that the guy with the short stacks donked, because usually that happens. He's just going to fold a lot, but no, there's no reason to raise on that board texture. It checks. We need to try and get $9 into this pot, so I think we can bet that much there, and then easily shove the river. He doesn't. I wonder what he donked and then just folded on that board. Who knows? Probably something I should go back and note, that he donks king low low dry and then just gives up. Red rum jack. It's one player I do know. He's a fucking, don't know why he's not got the tag, because he's a mega chicken. My chicken tag is for the kind of really super weak type players. You know, the stats have got like, I don't know, 18/5 or something like that. They're just never raising unless they've got it, but they're frequently just pissing around playing shitty, boring, weak type poker. I'm actually going to fold and watch this hand to see if I can demonstrate that, given that he's just been talking about him and he's then open under the gun. If anything interesting happens, we'll bring it up on the replayer. And it didn't. He opened pocket 3s under the gun. He did see better king queen 10 board, which is pretty shit. He turned a set, river to boat, and just went bet bet bet. Nothing much to say about it. I don't do this very often, but I think we'll do it here. 3-bet bluff with the king 7 suit. It's not something that's massively in my repertoire, to be honest with you, but we had like a really passive big blind, so the chance of us getting like him getting out of line is almost zero. So I don't mind, but this is why I don't do it very often, because look at red rum jack, he's raising again. Well, this isn't why I don't do it, but they're just not into the whole pre-flop dick waving thing. That was just a bit of needless showmanship from me there. It definitely, it's not a mistake. I'm not going to say it's a mistake, but it's not something that I typically do. I guess I'm kind of just trying to create some spots or do some different things to make the video more interesting, but that one didn't work out. Look at this. We have to call here, but the chance of us getting shot out by a 4-bet are significant, I would have thought, but we kind of have to call. We can't just fold there. We've got pocket pair, chance of flopping a set. This guy's probably just got a monster, but we don't make a set, and we flop an absolutely worthless flush draw, so that'll be the end of that one. So yeah, I think 30 minutes is about long enough for a video. Most people don't like videos to go much longer than that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's nice to be back making one. If you have got all the way through it, you enjoyed the video. It is the start of the month, so it's a good a time as any to join my subscription service. It runs on a monthly basis, which is kind of one of the reasons why I'm making the video. Obviously, to try and spam that. If you do think you'd like to join up, there's plenty of ways to get in touch with me. Get in touch with me via Reddit, where I usually spam my work. Get in touch with me via the Facebook group if you're a member of there. Or just get in touch with me on Skype. My Skype address is in the comment section below the video. So yeah, I hope to hear from some of you guys soon. And if I don't, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, everybody. Have a fantastic July. Bye-bye for now.